Every mile free.
I thought y'all had that thing. Hey, I hear you want to get around for a while.
Correctly then.
3 hours.
But yes, you just unload you just hooking a piece of equipment up to somebody, show them how to do it.
That's the help.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
I had talked to them about how I raised and how, but she wanted me to talk to them about that. Because even if still be successful. We talked. And they just loved me, and it was a good day. Because it does. I was there. We had it all. I finally said, you I said, I knew I was going to be here for 2.5 hours speaking till. Good day that I took off this shoot for yesterday morning. Friday.
Amy, I sold him. I had a post driver. Sold it to the barn, didn't you? 6 years.
Let's just stop.
Everything.
It's just,
Like a free man, it's getting harder and harder.
I would say something, but I can't.
I can show it to you. Cut the end of it off, nail it to the floor, rope took it off.
Sounds fun. You ever see a picture of it?
I don't see no. Cut your finger off.
No, but you can make.
I hope it was that.
Yeah, I hope so too. Paybacks.
If you want to pay for it, we'll see.
That's why I'm getting a tattoo. I'm getting rid of this rubber thing. Getting a tattoo of my wedding ring. I figured.
I got it.
I'm gonna get my tattoo. Hey, did you ever pick that key up from the lawn?
takes you back
Okay. Well,
Oh, yeah.
That was in between.
She's staying with April.
actually, that's terrible.
Mom and Dad would pay for the control that. Stand out there a whole lot.
And didn't get a bill. Well, there's a bunch of people that really kind of see what they
Well, I mean,
turned it into. Them girls, I think they had to be them. Well, whoever he turned it into, because I got a Summers Taylor for Johnny Lovin and me's three people who grew up together. He is that big plenty out goes together. And see the thing, I finally got the $1,400 for the slab. Yeah, I got it paid. I paid bills all the way back to 2020.
If you don't have in advance, still got that public. Actually, my
Sure it did. Think about the genealogy.
He said they might change it.
But no, he emailed me another.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. Whatever you go in is supposed to start out.
I said genealogy.
Radio in the baby.
Actually, I did a check on that.
We closed. We didn't close it.
2 hours ago. I hate that.
When you tell them they got to turn you to the head,
Shut off. I'm gonna go at the least when I prayed it away, and then truck driver was gonna get rid of the other end of it. The other one. Now he said he did. It's already did it. The fuel tank. Every time it was towed.
Whatever real.
They'll either have. You ready to start?
It's fun. There's no silent problem.
Meeting committee to order. We'll have to go ahead and have roll call. Kimball.
Here.
Nancy Brown here. Steve Burrow.
Here.
Gary Kemp.
Here.
Ginger Holdren. Jason Clausen.
Here.
Jason Raznick.
Here.
Kelly Collins.
Here. Okay, we go have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion. Second. A motion.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I thought you spent drinking.
Okay, and I'll just have to say, Chairman Holdren is, her husband is at the hospital and she's taking him after what's happened, but she called the other commissioners, but it was short notice, so I don't know if they're probably going to block. So they may show up, they might not, I don't know. It was kind of last minute in the last hour or two, so just hope for the best there and say a little prayer for her. We'll go ahead and start with the election of chairperson, select nominations. Chairperson.
You want to do it again? That's what I was about to ask.
That's fine.
I'll make that nomination. But
Any other nominations? That as a no. You what? All in favor?
Nation seats.
Yes, but we'll do a roll call on that. On both of these.
Bill Kimball.
Yes.
Nancy Brown.
Yes.
Steve Burrow.
Yes.
Gary Kemp.
Yes.
Jason Clausen.
Yes.
Jason Raznick.
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes. And just to make clear, that's for Kelly Collins to remain chairperson. And now I'll make nominations for vice chairperson
Nominate Nancy. I'll second.
for Nancy Brown. Any other? Anybody else?
Please.
Second that.
Second.
Okay. Guess we don't actually have to vote. We can go ahead since we'll go ahead and take a vote anyway, actually, for the first one.
Bill Kimball.
Yes.
Nancy Brown. Yes. Steve Burrow. Gary Kemp.
Yes.
Jason Clausen.
Yes.
Jason Raznick.
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes. And if you had time to look over the previous minutes, any changes? I didn't see any. It was fairly brief. And this is for August since we didn't have a meeting in September, so.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor of accepting the minutes from August? Any opposed? Okay, public comments for Education Committee. And then Dr. Bowers is going to do the director's report. I gave a pretty long explanation in the last commission meeting, so.
I'm just gonna hit a couple of highlights of
Not as
some,
much,
some data that maybe wasn't out, at the last commission meeting. Just some updates that are going on this week. We've got our benchmark going this week, so it's right before fall break. It will be our first kind of look to see where we're at going forward this year. So next month, I'll be able to share some, data with you all about where those benchmarks are coming in at. We did an ACT boot camp yesterday for 2 high schools and then the other 2 tomorrow because we have a retake on Wednesday. So we're on track that we could actually double the number of students that received a 21 or higher from the last school year to this school year. So that boot camp is something that Mr. McLean and Tyler Chambers put on last year, and we're continuing with this year. And then the 100 project finally broke ground. We've got equipment there, and it's finally getting some progress there. Just share some data that I don't think that Dr. Carpenter was able to share with you all at the full commission meeting. Overall district of a 5 last year. Our ACT scores from the last 2 years was it was a 16.3, then it was a 16.1, and now we've raised it up to 18.1. And that's really what matters for our juniors, because that's what's going to get them money when they go to college. So something we're really proud of, and that's why that boot camp is so important, because we're going to be able to. This is a senior retake, so those juniors able to retake that. Overall, like I said, district was a 5. I saw my cheat sheets here. I'm sure I don't tell you anything wrong on the numbers. So our high school TVAS, so 22. We were 4 out of 11 subjects met the growth. Last year was 8 out of 11, so we doubled that number, which is exactly what the direction we want to go to. Middle school, everything except for 1 grade in science met their growth and achievement. So all of the 4 through 8 TCAPs did what they were supposed to do. We had really low numbers of students that had to look at 3rd grade retention. No one had to be held back. Everyone was either was able to go to summer school or do tutoring this fall and into the spring. So that's a really big thing for our district. So now, unless a parent wanted to hold them back, but no one was made to, which is phenomenal compared to that law getting pushed out as quick as it did. So we had a really great summer school program and that tutoring in place. And then what I think is most impressive, it's the NICE survey, which takes a little bit of everything from our TCAP data, TVAS data, ACT. But what is impressive to me is surveys from the teachers that the TDOE, Tennessee Department of Ed, gets all those together. And in years past, we've always been in the hundreds. And so it says districts with the best teachers in Tennessee, we were ranked 15th out of 136. Best places to teach in Tennessee, 26 out of 135. And then best school districts in Tennessee was 56 out of 126. So what stands out to me is the best places to teach in Tennessee. That's just surveys from our teachers. So that was surveys from our teachers that we didn't have anything to do with. TDOE took those, released that data to them. So that tells me that we're doing something right with our employees. And also when it talks about the districts with the best teachers, I think we already know that, but that tells the rest of the state what our amazing job our teachers are doing. And then 56 out of 126. Last year we were like 111 out of 126. So I know 56 out of 126 it's not our end goal, but we've made a lot of ground to where we want to go. And I see that we're going to be a lot better this year, especially how we're tracking already. All positions currently, I'm going to knock on wood because I might have something in my email, are filled right now. We're not looking for anything, which is really great. Other districts around are in a really hard time filling teaching positions, aides and janitors, but we're not. And I think a lot of this has to do with what I just talked about. Any questions for me? I know it's kind of a little bit briefer just because you had so much information at the last meeting.
How many kids do we got this year in Carter County?
Okay, I did check on that and we're trending just where we were at last year. So we've not gained, but we've not lost. Which last year, was the first year we've gained in over 20 years. So I checked right before I left, and we're right on track with where we were at last year at this point. So we're right on track to be what we need to be. Normally we see an uptick after fall break because a lot of other systems kind of start a little bit later than we do, especially if they're coming from other states. So we get a little bit after fall break. So I expect that to go a little bit after fall break. Just trending, that's how that happens.
Is the 3rd grade going to still do the same?
Yes, that same law is still in effect. They are looking at tweaking a little bit of how that looks. There's going to be 2 different options for the universal screener. So every student has to take a test at the very beginning of the year. And we elect to use EasyCBM. It's just a platform that we use. The state also provides Ames Web, which is really great because it gives our kids 2 pathways to be able to be promoted past 3rd grade. So it gives us a little bit of more of an option for our students rather than just choosing one and going exactly what the state says. It gives us another pathway.
I have any other questions?
Dr. Powers, how are you guys looking on the bus driving situation, the bus drivers? I know there's been a shortage and they've had to cancel some bus routes and.
So, what Dr. Carpenter and I are looking at right now is we're gonna start offering some of our teachers and our aides the ability to run bus routes for an extra stipend. So that's something that we're trying to get with finance because our assistants are based on an hourly rate and that would push them into a salary rate. And so we can't really make that decision without their guidance to tell us what that cap is. So our teachers and our principals are already picking up routes. So I can tell you 3 principals right now that run a real route every single day, which is near impossible to run a school to do that, but they're going to do what our kids need. Teachers are picking up routes, but our aides, which are, you know, some of our lowest paid employees, could really pick up some routes if we can get that worked out where we can get to a salary rate. It would be great for them because we're looking at, you know, going from, you know, $11.90 an hour, which is roughly about $16,500 a year, to offering them $30,000, which would get them above that pay rate to be an aide and to run the bus route. But on top of that, they get full benefits and that TCRS retirement. So that's kind of nice. They get all those benefits. So if they do move up and decide to do something else, the retirement's still there. And then the benefits, which is the big thing. So we're working on with it. It's just one of those things. I got to make sure we're in compliance with ACA law and not going into overtime.
Do they have to have like their CDLs and literally ain't that an issue with trying to get these pictures and?
Yes, ma'am. So CDL license is about a 3-month process right now. So like I had somebody contact me today that said, hey, I know you're in shortage. I'd love for you to be able, you know, I'd like to help you out, but I don't have my CDL. And I'm like, so I've got people, especially because we're starting to advertise in really different ways. I mean, we're going to doing not just what we do on Facebook and our platform, but we're going with newspaper routes, Johnson City Press. We're going with the Star. We've even done that at the Avery Journal and the Avery Gazette because we've got, you know, so close to with Cloudland, we can catch some of those North Carolina people that come over. So we've been kind of creative on how we're trying to get people, but it's about a 3-month process. So if you're just coming in and saying, hey, I want to do this, I mean, we'll help them. But it is about a 3-month process to get that CDL. And and you have to have the passenger endorsement too with that. So we're working on it. So if you know anybody who already has a CDL license that would like to come drive for us, we'd gladly love to take any of y'all.
Guys ain't looking for another one?
Yeah.
That's a winter job.
The winter job.
That's the one thing. I mean, when I say we're fully staffed, I've never went over fully staffed. When I say fully staffed, it's fully staffed inside the
Today.
yeah, inside janitors or aides or cooks or things like that. But yeah, bus drivers, I should make that caveat. We will always need a bus driver if you know anybody that would like to do that. So, but we're working with that. We've got Mr. McLean and Ms. Hyder was driving a van just last week. So we've got 2 supervisors that are going out that are doing that. Nobody wants me to try to help, trust me. Oh, it's so bad. I barely can drive my car, so nobody wants my help. And everybody
With you, I just spoke with Mark today, Revis, and that ARC grant that we had gotten about a year and a half ago, it was able to purchase, I think, 16 welding booths. I don't know if you knew yet.
Yeah,
So we'll have a budget amendment on next week, but that's 16 welding booths. That's pretty awesome.
and all of those classes are fully, like they're up to their max number of students, which is phenomenal for first year. We weren't really sure how that was going to look. So our CTEC center is fully staffed with as many kids as that we can serve this year. We're going to extend it next year, obviously, and add more programs and then looking at how to restructure all the high schools into where they've got those just really the basic classes at the high schools and then transport to the CTEC. Mr. Bradley and all of them and Mr. Evans are doing a phenomenal job there. So yeah, we're maxed out there, which is a great thing.
And for the newer commissioners, just an update on that. My office applied for a $250,000 ARC grant about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when we were talking about the facility that we're going to be building up here at the workforce, the new facility. And the regional commission serves 37 counties. So it's the Southeast United States. So it was a very competitive grant that we applied for and we got it. It's $250,000 for this facility. And then they've been able to use it to purchase the 16 welding booths with that.
So that's pretty phenomenal. And our special ed director, Tim Jenkins, went and applied for another grant to be able to serve our special ed students in those programs. So those students that might have are struggling readers, we're going to have that support so they can still get those industry starts and be able to support themselves, but have that extra support that they might need. So she just wrote that grant and got that awarded a couple weeks ago now. It's all starting to run together, but last month sometime. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of great things. I mean, it's, you know, I always like to, our scores came back a lot better than any surrounding district, by far. I mean, we've got, you know, Johnson City and Kingsport City that had a higher ACT average, but short of that, we were leaps and bounds above others. So, we got a lot of great kids and a lot of great teachers doing a lot of great things. So that's our job's really easy.
It's left deeper.
So, how many did we lose? Like to
100, you sent them to all.
So no, so for the Kingburg kids, they we split them to either Central or to Hunter, and then we did an open enrollment where we allowed them to choose. So we kind of divided the school to push them both places, and then we did an open enrollment, which we do every year, the last couple weeks of May and the first 2 weeks of July, and they got to choose where they wanted to go. We did have some migrate up to Hampton, but yes, Ms. Collins is shaking her head. Those numbers did get a little.
I got 2 of them.
Yeah, they did get a little bit bigger.
In my class.
So we had more go to Hunter and to Hampton than rather than to Central, and we gave them that option, and so they got to pick where they wanted to go. By what we're looking at, I think we didn't lose any more than 12 students, but those 12 students actually didn't live in Carter County to begin with. So we did lose them, but they weren't Carter County students to begin with.
Did you lose them to the city more than likely?
No, we actually lost them to Bluntville because they lived that way. Yeah, and so they went that direction. To what we now, based on our record request, that's where they went. I know I can't promise you that we didn't lose some to the city, but we always lost middle schoolers to the city. So that regular attrition of those kids that had tuition free went there. That was like a normal just attrition that we normally see. But 12 kids is what we lost per se that we would have counted on that keeping. But I think 10 of the 12 went to Bluntville because they lived on that side. So it wasn't.
Yeah, that's where they was probably gonna go when they got to middle school anyway.
Yeah, most of the time. We lost most of our middle schoolers from that school anyway.
Teachers and the cooks keep their positions.
We did not lose any positions with that. We were able to fully move every single person from Kingburg, from a part-time assistants to the principal. Everyone had a position.
That's great.
Yeah, we were able to move and got people on top of each other several places so we get this Hunter project done, but everybody was placed, yeah.
Anybody else?
Keep doing what you're doing.
We'll try.
Thank you.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
All right, let's go to old business. Recycling in the school system.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was in there, but anyways, I was gonna cover it on
Keep
my.
on till I,
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I spoke to Dr. Carpenter. I've got a scheduling system set up in my mind, to be honest with you. We're working on a piece of equipment now. We're looking, if we adopt it and go that way, we're looking at probably doing some kind of a dumpster system in the back of the truck, something similar to this. I'm attempting, you can pass that around if you want to, but that's like 32 grand. Right now, the school system, and I've got to speak with Mr. Sams on one of the trucks, but we have a good truck frame and body at the landfill. It can be utilized and turned around and put a dumpster system on that with a loader, because it's got external hydraulics that we can utilize and build our own system. It'd be a whole lot cheaper than the $32,000 they want just for that system, not counting the truck. So we're working on it. It's nothing great and grand right now. I would like to know where those containers are. I asked 2 different people. I never got a straight answer. So I really need to find those.
hope we can find those.
So me and Mr.
I will check on that.
Will you find those for me, because it's really important, because of the way they hook, make that lift and dump. there's a standard, and then there's some that are larger, and then there's some that they call the apartment styles, and they're only about less than 12 inches wide. So we really need to know on that hook if we're going to fabricate that. And I think we got enough junk at our landfill that we got enough junk at our landfill that we could fabricate and probably build that. And my plan is to put a part-time individual that can go and do that and take care of that at each school at least once a week. And then if it gets real busy, especially the opening of school and the closing of schools, that's the busy time. And then empty them maybe twice or 3 times a week, especially, high school, maybe not be that bad, but elementary school, I've seen what comes out of there, and there's a lot of paper in there, and we really need to get it. We picked up on our cardboard. Actually, the new building in Hampton, we went ahead and delivered a recycling container there. So Sam, I've been working with him up there, and it's working out real well. We're back almost in Snap-on again as far as that part of the recycling. But if we can get into recycling the leaf paper, then what I'd like to look at is not only our schools, but maybe work out with the city of Elizabeth and work with the city schools. We can do that, and then work with some of our major manufacturers here in Carter County. We're already doing our loose leaf paper out of Elizabeth and Star. So looking at expansion, looked at expansion and possibility of a grant, but I just did not have time enough to deal with it this year. Hopefully there will be another run at it the first part of next year and go from there. But if we can get the vehicle and get it fabricated up to where it'll be easy dump, and I think we'll be in good shape. And then we can do that recycling. That'd be great. It's a high price paper, and it's a resource that we're losing, and we got to keep up our resources.
Okay, well, I'll check with Dr. Carpenter and see where they are. I think I know where they are, but I'm not sure before we.
Well, I haven't got to talk to him where they are. I've asked 2 other individuals, and they have no clue.
Yeah, are you talking about the big ones that are outside, like the?
No, that Dr. Bowers, it's the small. It almost looks like a trash can.
Yeah, they're.
Okay, I know which ones you're talking. I'll.
I don't know. I asked him if it might have been stored down at the river, and the guy said, "I don't think so. I don't remember."
Last time I was told they took them somewhere up to Cloudland, because that was the only place they had that was big enough for them.
I'll do some digging tomorrow.
You got my number. Give me a call, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, we didn't really have any new business right now. Is there any commissioner comments?
Landfill?
No.
Good.
Still in education.
Landfill.
No. Okay. Then somebody,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
All right, we can call to order the highway meeting. Whether you want to take roll, or can we just use previous roll call? Let's just use that. I get a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Use the roll call from the last meeting and make a motion to approve the agenda. Election of chairperson.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on. Now the election of chairperson.
I'll let you stay here.
Any other nominations? Voice vote.
Motion 6 nomination.
Okay.
Second.
No vote needed, right? We're just all in favor on that one, right?
Take a vote. Your ceasing nominations. Acclamation.
Okay.
So you gotta get voted for, so yeah, just take a vote.
This is for you, Chair. Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Steve Burrow,
Yes.
Gary Kemp,
Yes.
Jason Clausen,
Yes.
Jason Raznick,
Yes.
Billy Collins.
Yes.
Election of vice chairperson. Do you still want to do that? I may nominate Steve.
You second.
I'll say that.
I couldn't hear you.
Any other nominations?
I make a motion, we cease nominations. Steve Burr as vice president.
Willie second.
Vice chair, sorry.
Well, early for that.
Don't do it, I got faith in you.
Willie seconded that one. Let's vote on that. Willie seconded that on the motion to cease.
Added up the zero test. Mr. President.
I think this is for Steve, huh? Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Steve Burrow,
Yes.
Gary Kemp,
Yes.
Jason Clausen,
Yes.
Jason Raznick,
Yes.
Billy Collins.
Yes.
We got any public comment for the highway? Come on up.
Approval of minutes.
Wait, I skipped one. Hang on just a second. The approval of the previous month's minutes, which was August the 7th, because we didn't have them last month.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, Mr. Now you can come on up and make your comments.
My name's David Ellis. We were coming down to look and see about potentially closing a road, two houses I have on Judge Don Lewis Boulevard. Department over there knows a little bit about it. We basically had quite a bit of vandalism and other stuff out at the end of that. The road is previously closed from the other side from Billy Hitchcock's property. You know what I'm talking about?
A little bit familiar with that area, but not like super familiar.
This is the section, if you go down by, used to be the old Ident, turn right, there's two homes.
Okay.
If you were mine. I got you what the deal is, and we've had quite a bit of stuff stolen, missing, and we've had some vandalism out there. The county had to chase somebody through there and destroyed an outbuilding with a truck, and I don't know, it's been a mess. And we've just got to the point to where we think if it's not a tremendous amount of headache, we'd like to actually close that section.
What's it take to do that?
Generally, be any residents on the road that are affected, property owners would just file a written request or petition to close it. And then we would advertise that to come up at your next meeting. I mean, the main thing is, and I know a little bit about it, it's been a little bit since we talked, but to make sure that it doesn't affect any other property owners, there's access to any other houses that might be there or to future property development, so we're not cutting it off and closing the county road that's actually needed. I know there's, at least we're talking, maybe there's one other house out there, but maybe it does have alternate access.
It's got access from the other side.
So, I mean, I'm happy to look into it and come back and let y'all know next month if it's something that you want to pursue.
Yeah, let's do that. I guess
Yeah, I was coming more or less tonight to
dig
see.
in on it and figure it out. If it's a viable option, I guess we'll vote on the highway meeting next time and send it to full commission, right?
Well, normally you schedule a public hearing like in this committee to make sure that there's nobody showing up in the public that's opposed to it that may use it for some purpose. Usually nobody does. I mean, and the other property is, I guess, kind of in limbo at the moment as far as ownership. So I don't know if anybody there would show up or protest. But yeah, he was trying to show up to see what the process was and was a little late to get on this meeting agenda. So really, I would suggest that I come back to y'all next month and let you know. And if you want to move forward, schedule a public hearing and move forward that way.
I didn't hear the name of the road. What was it?
It's Judge Don Lewis Boulevard. I'm sorry. Goes down behind the old Ident property. Yeah.
Right on the river, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's very narrow.
Yeah, my two houses are it, except for where Billy's property's already, they already blocked it. So that's it. I'm basically requesting about, what, 100 yards? If that, it would be cut off at the end is what it is.
So all people that's gonna benefit from it are your two houses.
That's it.
If, as long as the other guy's not in opposition.
Correct. Yeah, the only person I know to talk to about that, I guess, would be Paul.
Yeah, and obviously you get a recommendation from Shannon as far as the highway department goes, if he has an opinion as to the road or the, maintenance on the road, or if that would be a benefit or whatever, let him look at it, report to y'all next month too, if there's any opposition or favor for it.
We find those, we look at it. Like I said, if we just got his two houses on it, it's.
Yeah, I'll give you my phone number. You're welcome anytime to give me a yell and come out there
We
and I'll
don't
show
put my
you.
line on.
It was our last
2-3 days ago.
Thursday, you actually turned our.
Well, I went up there because we got mowing. Pretty much just get it off, go back to him. Ain't nobody else, Josh Shelley, bothers.
Like, to save time, I mean, if you want to move forward to consider it next month and go ahead and set a public hearing, we can advertise that to happen all at the same time. And I'll report back to y'all next month, and you can see if anybody from the public shows up, and then you can move it on to full commission.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's set the public hearing. That way we can put it to bed next month.
Do we need to make a motion to set a public hearing or?
Yeah, you can, to set the public hearing at next month's meeting on this issue, and then I'll
With the motion.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for Judge Don Lewis Boulevard.
It'll be 280 and 288 is the two affected properties.
Boulevard to be closed. Pending, I guess,
I don't know where
agreement with the third land.
I guess you want to close at the intersection of,
Right there at the end of,
Dent Way, is that what that's called?
the intersection of,
no, not the intersection. I'll be able to blow it back at the end of the building. Because I don't want to block anything. Some of those 18-wheelers may have to back down that way. So
okay, that's what,
my property line is where it would be.
that's what I'm getting at. So you, in the past, like Roger would go out or something and give me a measurement that I could use. Because if we actually close it, we'll quit claim any interest in the road to the property owner. And we'll have to have a measurement from like the intersection or something.
No problem.
That's the one that run down, straight down to the end, turn right.
Yes, sir.
That road was closed under Roy Taylor.
Yeah, the end
Yeah,
of
the end of it is, it goes down, or there actually a section that is closed. Me and Shannon was our Thursday. There's actually a section already closed. Past his property, it's closed from there all the way down to Old Stony Creek.
Okay, if you come from Stony
And
Creek.
he's just wanting to close that section back up to the ID building. It ain't, like you said, it'd be like if it's 100 yards.
And that'll become, if we,
Yeah, we was our
yeah, it's just,
Thursday.
we're having trouble. There's an awful lot of people coming out there that don't need to be if you get the drift.
yeah, they don't have any business there, I get it. Any other public comments?
She made a motion.
Yeah, we need a second.
And Nancy seconded the motion. We need to vote on that. All in favor?
Thank you all for having us tonight. So, I am Vera Meredith Peters, and this is Rick Meredith, my second cousin, and his wife Rosie. And we could fill the courtroom tonight with second cousins that would like to be here, but we're here for a reason. Rick is going to share about some information. I'm going to start, and then Rosie's going to finish that explains exactly why we're here. There's a quote from our U.S. Defense Secretary that says, one of the most important things that we can all do for veterans is to honor the service of those who have gone above and beyond the call of duty. And as a group of second cousins, we are in the process right now of maintaining and cleaning up and working on the Meredith Cemetery that is out on the Gap Creek Highway, the Carter County Highway Department. We've talked with them and they've helped us with some things there. So we are here tonight for Ira Lynn Meredith, born December 2nd, 1914, passed away June the 9th, 1944, at 29 years of age. He's buried at the Meredith Cemetery. Ira Lynn Meredith was a Tennessee hero, a Carter County Army's 4th Infantry Iron Horse of World War II, and a Gap Creek steadfast and loyal son of a farmer by the name of William G. and Lily Meredith. The 3 words that stand out in my mind when I think about this proposal is the words Iron Horse, steadfast, and loyal are the mottos of the 4th Infantry that landed first on Normandy at Utah Beach on June the 4th, 1944. So as a family, we're coming tonight to propose help with you all voting. This is a picture just so you know, Ira, and then the information that Rick is going to share and Rosie's going to share with you. You're welcome. Shannon.
You would, thank you. One of you.
Rick,
As Vera has already stated, we're here to ask permission to get a bridge on Gap Creek Road named after Ira in his memory. He was leading 2 infantry squads in the Normandy area of France on D-Day +3, which was the 3rd day after the invasion. Him and his men were approaching a big hedgerow and were ambushed by Germans on both sides. They were taking fire from their left side and their right side. And rather than risk his men's lives, he told them to take cover, shoot back at the Germans to protect him. And he attacked the first 3 machine guns, destroyed the gun, and destroyed the Germans that were shooting the gun. And he went on from there to attack a second machine gun that was shooting at him. And he destroyed that gun and killed the Germans that were operating it, and started taking fire from a 3rd machine gun and was wounded again and was attacking to take out the 3rd machine gun when he collapsed from a lack of blood and died there on the battlefield. He was, as Vera said, he was 29 years old, which I guess for that time, a job that he had was kind of old.
We don't have a lot of time.
He disabled all 3 of the machine guns that were shooting at him and his men. And as I said it already, he collapsed from a lack of blood because he had been shot and wounded so many times that he just couldn't carry on any farther. He was nominated for and awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, which is the 2nd highest medal awarded to a military person, surpassed only by the Medal of Honor, Presidential Medal of Honor. I'm through.
I'm Rosemary Meredith, and we're asking that the bridge on Gap Creek Road, State Route Highway 362, Big Springs, be named for our cousin, if it's not already named. Like Vera said, I was buried just a few miles up the road in the Meredith Family Cemetery on a hill near Gap Creek Christian Church. We started this process a few months ago, as Vera said, when we started working on the Meredith Family Cemetery. And Rick and Vera have shared Ira's bravery and heroism on June the 9th, when 1944. We're thankful that you let us come tonight and make this request. Shannon Barchett has helped us. Jason Rasnick has helped us navigate the process, and Steve Burrow, as well as the Tennessee Department of Transportation. John Hostclaw has very graciously agreed to sponsor this bill if it's approved by the Carter County Commission, and he will carry it to the governor. So on behalf of the Meredith family, thank you for allowing us to come tonight and make our presentation in honor and remembering our cousin, Sergeant Ira Lynn Meredith, June the 9th, 1944.
Make a motion, we move forward and, bridge named, Ira Lynn Meredith Bridge.
Second it.
All in favor?
Thank you all very much.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
What do we do? John Husclaw has shared with us that we're supposed to take something to him. Is that something that you offer?
No,
What's our next step?
the full commission will pass it, and then what we'll do is I'll get the resolution to Senator Crow and Hoscall. They had already reached out to me and asked me to, so it's already in the works, so they'll pass it through, when they go back into General Assembly after January. So once, they just have to have the resolution. So I'll make sure I get it to, John and Rusty for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank y'all.
That was the new business I was gonna talk about. Is there any other new business? I asked if there's any other new business, that's, anybody know of anything else?
Well, I've had a complaint, and I just wanted to ask Shannon about it. Anita McMahon from Rome Mountain on Main Street has complained about speeders going through there and wanted speed bumps, and we explained to her we couldn't do speed bumps. Me and Julie both, as I'd say you had your talk with her too, so anyways, but she wondered if we couldn't get some signs lowering the speed limit through there. And she wanted to know about a noise ordinance too for the county, I mean. I told her I would.
Speed limit, you let it go through the. We should do it.
It's Main Street, Rome Mountain.
The petition that be brought back before the highway committee.
And everybody on that road has to
That
sign
looks like
that
we done
petition.
that. Jamila,
Okay.
to drop it. I'm sure it's 35.
Yeah.
Jamila. Just for the temporary, but yeah, it's still.
Okay.
Those speed bumps about now.
Well, she
Ordinance noise.
She wanted to know how come we didn't have speed bumps, and I told her literally that it was a real problem with the plows. And she said, well, they shouldn't be going that fast anyways, and they should know where they're at.
What's the current speed limit?
I'd say
35.
35.
35 now. 35 countywide.
That's on Old 143 right through the middle of Rome Mountain.
Yeah. Through the old part. And people does fly through there, there ain't no doubt, but they fly through every little holler up there.
I ain't gonna stop.
What she's talking about is all the folks would do.
Any other commissioner comments?
The way they are, she's talking about is all those loud mufflers and resonators on those big diesel trucks.
I can't hear you speak.
The noise she's talking about is the resonators, the big resonators at the end of the tailpipes of the diesels and mufflers on trucks.
Are you talking commercial trucks or just pickup?
No, talking private vehicles.
Okay, yeah. There's not much.
A lot of them don't even have mufflers
Law
on.
enforcement, I mean, it's.
I get
The
that.
reason I asked you about commercial trucks, some people's got no Jake brakes and all that, and
No, there's
Jake
no,
brakes a whole lot better than a truck going through your house. Not much we can do there. Any other commissioner comments?
Say on the Jim Elliott Road, we did lower the speed limit, as Shannon said.
And you've got some positive feedback from that too, from neighbors and.
Honestly, I believe, I think speed limits don't help. It seems like it slowed it down through the house. At least I can get my mailbox.
Hey, man, it's dangerous. I mean.
Oh, yeah, I come through with my.
Used to, I
Sometimes.
They'll top the hill and they'll be over on your side.
And I hardly use what's playing about.
used to go off 30 minutes across the mailbox. And the time I got the mailbox, and they was on Gap Creek, before I get the mailbox, you turn around, they went by me. And that's how fast. But now I can at least quit the mailbox, if there's one coming, turn around and get back across the road.
Troopers and county both are patrolling that road.
I've been trooping for the house the other day.
Yeah, I seen a trooper out through there the other day too.
I'm sure that helps.
Seems to be helping.
I've got a comment that's kind of concerning to me is, and you know, I talked to you guys about a month ago and you said you used to pave about 20 miles of road a year and now you can only afford to pave 7 just due to the material cost of diesel and everything that goes along with it. My concern is that 7 miles a year is not going to keep up with the deterioration of all these roads. So as a commission, we're going to have to try to find some money because all the roads that I travel on the regular, which is McKeon Ridge, Powder Branch, Cash Hollow Road,
Creek Road.
Tester Road and Gap Creek, I could travel that end a lot, Toe Branch, and even all the way up Laurel's Road, which I know that's a state route, but all those small roads are in poor shape. They're not getting any better. And, you know, we can't blame it on them. And I know other areas of the county that I don't travel on the regular is probably just the same. And I know some of them, we've heard people come down.
There's a lot of them running mountain.
When we start concerned, we've got to try to figure out a way to up that budget or we're going to look back in 5 or 10 years and all our roads are going to be absolute trash. So I don't know the process to do that. Maybe there's some grants out there. Maybe push it to the full commission to up the budget to get to where we can at least maintain a certain level of roads, put them on a rotation or something.
Find some grants.
I mean, does anybody have any suggestions on?
Well, you want to explain to them how the state aid works a little bit, so that will give you some
Yeah,
insight?
'cause I don't know. I just.
State aid, so many roads, it's listed, qualified as state aid road.
Yeah, and
It
they're
has to leave a state route and connect back to a state route. It has to make a loop.
like Gap
Be
Creek.
on the list.
And
Creek does.
the state has a list that we go by and they just allow so many miles of county roads to be on the state aid.
So with that, a lot of these like go to a dead end road with.
Oh, no.
They're not.
I know we've got some like Whaley Town, you can go in one and out the other, but it's not on the state aid list.
No. The
It's
road,
got 3 accesses, it's a state highway, it's not on the county, it ain't on state aid Crabtree up through Pals. It's
it's
the old
not,
state route, and it's not on the state aid list.
That's like cool.
See, McKeon Ridge Road comes back to Powder Branch, or Powder Branch, that's not a state route, is it?
I'd have to look on the list, but anyway, with the state aid, it's 80-20. They pay the 80%, we pay 20%. That's why we done Poggy Road. We didn't do state aid project last year. We banked our money, saved it, and we paid right at 7 Mile Poggy Road this year. We just got done with it.
and it was over $1 million.
We had to do the 20%. Which for us is clipping the shoulders, putting up the construction signs, replacing any drainage pipe, anything like that. Going back, if you had to put shoulder stone, stuff like that, but the striping and the paving is the state's part. We just got, like I said, 7 miles of Poggy Road done about a month ago.
And that's the only real help we get from the state if the road is listed on the state aid project, and the rest is up to us.
What can we do to get them more budget for paving the small roads?
How much, no, the governor allocated,
State aid.
Yeah,
all that's going towards state aid?
it's state aid only and
That's one reason we done both.
it's actually, there's traffic count has to be right on the road. It's just not, we can't pick just a certain state aid. It has to be a certain state aid road that we can use what the governor just allocated on. It's not going to be like we could pick a certain state aid road. If the traffic count's not right on that road, we can't do that.
Okay, how about the other roads that don't qualify? How do we go about paving them?
We pay them out of our budget.
And that budget has not got any bigger.
No.
And asphalt's $100.
How do we increase that budget? What's a typical way to?
A lot of money out there.
Really?
Well, I mean, you understand, just like Little Stony Creek where you, right there at the mouth.
I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Still.
I mean, there's pothole patching after pothole patching everywhere that I drive on the regular.
We paid one road that they came to highway committee about Bishop Hall, it was over $100,000 just for material alone.
That's what I'm saying.
One road.
One road,
How many
it was
miles?
over $100,000 for material.
Is it that much? It wasn't that much.
How much is it?
Half miles, something like
3 miles, 4 miles, Bishop Hall?
I don't remember the mileage, but.
3 something.
Go
8, I think.
I waited again,
They're probably 3,
to the
3.
bottom and come out right past the intersection where you cut back.
I mean, that's just a commissioner comment from me. That's just my concern.
That'd be great.
Sure.
Well, like I said, asphalt's $100 a ton, and I'm sure it ain't gonna be $100 next year.
That's what I'm saying. It's going up and your budget's not getting any bigger.
All right.
And you gotta think, when that truck backs in that machine with 20 ton, if that road is 20, say that road's 16 foot wide, we have to put 2 inches of asphalt on it because the roads are rough. We could run these thin lifts like State's going, we could get by a little bit. But whenever you back that truck into that paving machine, you pull that load of asphalt out, you get about 162 feet of distance with that 20 tons of asphalt.
16 foot by 2 inches thick.
That's about what you average. It'll vary just depending on the condition of the road you're paving, but that's about the distance that load of asphalt takes you.
162 feet.
That's a rough fast.
Okay.
And that's $2,000 every, you figure, you might as well say $2,000 every 200 feet.
$1,000.
So it doesn't, I mean, that's why we can't catch up. I mean, it's inevitable. We're never gonna catch
There
up.
would be no way to catch up.
We're not going to.
I can remember back when I first started driving in 96, the roads was in pretty dang good shape, which the cost of doing business and everything was so much better. I'm not blaming anybody. I think you do a great job, and I think Roger and him done a great job, or all you guys, with what you had to work with. We got to get you more to work with.
And like you say, in the 90s, your asphalt's $30 a ton.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, you just say where it is. And tomorrow asphalt might be 105 a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know. I mean, it's a gamble. Go every day, I mean.
Drive by these pumps and see the signs and fuel going up. And going with it.
Oh yeah, asphalt's driven by that, right?
Yeah.
The raw material is, I mean, that's just like gravel. I mean, we're paying $21.50 a ton for gravel right now. We was paying $7 a ton 10 years ago.
3 times the cost.
I mean, people don't understand. I mean, they have no clue.
To do if you ain't got nothing to do with. We gotta find a way.
That's just something to think about.
It's $2 a ton. So long as it's $2 a ton. That wasn't that high since
$2 a ton back when?
back when I first started.
Limestone?
$2 a ton.
Really?
Been there a while.
Willie's been here with us a little bit.
My salary.
We'll cautious, quick skills and go, yeah, but
Any other commissioner comments?
I don't know those.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn? Second. All in favor?
We take 5, we've got some here, need to break.
All right.
There you go, sir.
I got it together. Just if y'all stay awake long enough, go smoke him one, Willie, and come back. You don't know if he needs to go to the latrine or if he needs to go burn.
Well, that's it, but it's on the way. That's it, little cheat, pins in there, little plastic in the way, I quit using.
It's fine, cause you ain't never. Be 36 years, you still ain't, about 38 years.
We got the leaflet. It's not named, it's the bridge. Yeah, it's out at Vicksburg.
See you today.
Born ready.
You don't have to agree to it. That's gonna be the norm.
Call this meeting to order, and we're gonna use the same roll call as the previous two meetings. Can I have approval for August the 17th, August the 7th minutes?
You need to approve the agenda.
Huh?
You need to approve the agenda first.
Did I just ask it?
Sit minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Nominations for chairperson. Steve Barrow.
Second.
You a little slow on the
If I could vote, if I could vote, I would third it.
Fall asleep again.
What's your discussion? I'm ready with that.
Wow.
He can make a motion, he's chairperson.
I was just thinking about Steve.
We'll make that motion.
Oh, I don't know. Do I want to make that motion?
Barrett, Chair Landfill Committee.
Second.
Don't get president.
Anybody else?
I make a motion that we accept Steve Burr as chairperson by acclamation.
Second.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Steve Burrow,
Yes.
Gary Kemp,
Yes.
Jason Clausen,
Yes.
Jason Reisnick.
Yeah, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nominations for vice.
Does he take over now?
Yeah.
Chairman Burr.
If you want.
Right now?
Well, you're the chair.
Okay, good.
Oh. Tell me right the phone. We take nominations for vice chairperson.
Nominate Kelly Collins.
Second.
Kelly Collins.
Somebody needs a motion
What do you think?
to accept me as chairperson by acclamation.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, chairperson.
Second.
Sorry.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Nancy Brown,
Yes.
Steve Burrow, Gary Kemp,
Yes.
Jason Clausen.
Yes.
Jason Reisnick.
Yes.
Billy Collins.
Yes.
And old business, employee updates. Chris.
First thing, my unofficial employees, Carter County Highway Department, I want to thank them for everything you all do to help us out. I really appreciate y'all. I'll pay you a doctor. But anyways, I want to thank the Carter County Sheriff's Department too, because they've assisted us tremendously. With that said, right now we're looking at, I still have a truck driver's position that needs to be filled, but we've got a complement of 10 full-time employees. And our new secretary administrative assistant came on board this morning. And we got 9 part-time employees. That's even with the convenience center. So employment, we're doing good. What I've done is I'm trying to hire individuals that can only just operate equipment, can also do work on the equipment. And with that said, we've probably saved real close to about $30,000 so far up to this year. But with that said, we got a lot of junk we're working with, okay? And a lot of stuff has to be maintained. So that's where we're going with that. And I think you'll notice a difference in everything going on. Our employees are or responding to the individuals that comes in. They're taking pride in their buildings. They're taking pride in their equipment now. And you can see the difference when people come into the landfill and things. So that's a key. There's still a little bit of sifting I got to go through, and I apologize for that. I know I've probably hurt a lot of feelings in the last 2 months, but you got to do what you got to do. Every penny that goes into there is pennies that somebody in this county has spent, and you need to respect that. I don't care if you're pushing a piece of equipment and pushing dirt, or if you're somebody there that meets them every day, or myself. So be respectful and move out like that. So if you can't do that and follow instructions and do what's right, you won't be there with me. And I told you all that to begin with. So that's where we stand as far as employment. So any questions, concerns about that, I can answer at this time.
How's the truck handling its axles to rail that?
Oh, we'll talk about that in just a second if you want to. You'll like this one. Brad Johnson will love this one. But anyway.
How many people are in
That's
the
it.
office now?
Pardon me,
How
ma'am?
many people are in?
All right, I have a scale master, which is my full-time scale operator. I have 2 part-time scale individuals that rotate in and out. And then those 3 produce on the Saturdays, half a days on Saturdays, okay? So I've got that schedule, and that's been going on for 6 weeks now, 7 weeks, really working out well. And we'll go over some numbers here just shortly. With that said, and then I have secretary that, like I said, administrative assistants will be doing all my feelings, my technical reports and information of that nature, scheduling and moving forward with that. So that's what we have there now. So at any given time, oh, and something else too, and I don't know if Avery experienced it or not. Well, the door's locked. They need to know who you are when you come in, okay? That's our money. Let me rephrase that. That's our county money. And I don't just let anybody in and out. Does that make sense? Even you're gonna have some employees that's gonna be fussing, but there's only certain employees that are in and out of there. And that's security, period, cut and dry. And if I could cut it down any more than that, I would, but that's where we have to stand right now. And it's just keeps good, honest people honest, and it keeps anybody from coming in and picking up or moving stuff.
That's good policy.
Absolutely. So with that said, that's where we stand there. Anything else?
Anything with the credit card machine yet?
No, sir. And I'll be honest with you and we'll discuss that in a few moments. We'll just discuss it now. It's all right. Yeah. All right. We had QuickBooks since latter part of 19. It's never been utilized. We've been paying $549 a year to utilize that. It's never been utilized. That would be the easiest billing system to make it easier. Once we get this billing system up and running, we will look into the communication part of doing that. Now, with that said, I've had Spectrum up there. What was ran in there was there. It worked, but it was wires sitting on top of the ground inside the ditch. So I've called Spectrum. We've worked that out. And they went in there. The 811's come in and marked all the utilities, hopefully, and it's going to be buried and set the right way. With that said, then we can get our security system back up and some odds and ends. Even our phone system was going in and out because of that situation. So I've got that. I got rid of that old trashy phone we had in there and just went ahead and took care of it myself. So you can actually hear somebody when you're talking on those phones. My cell phone doesn't work very well up there, and I apologize. If I say I'll call you back, if I ain't called you back in an hour and a half, you better call me because I forgot to call you back. I just did somebody's father-in-law like that today. So, but I did call him. But
So
it's getting more
we
certain.
don't have a security system at all?
Our security system, and that's something else we'll discuss. And I'm very dissatisfied. And no, I'm extremely dissatisfied with what we have there. They actually came in one time, did a little bit of work. They dropped a new monitor off at the Rogue Mountain Station. But as far as meeting the criteria that we need, and I think Anthony, our IT individual, agree with us that we probably need to look at going to somebody different. And Adrian, I spoke with him while I was on vacation. We finally got to talk a little bit, and we're supposed to meet either tomorrow or Wednesday, first chance he gets. We're going to look at what we got. Right now, the alarm system works. It does go to 911, okay? But as far as me being able to look and say, okay, this camera, our cameras supposedly, according to the individuals that we're utilizing now, are recording. But as far as me being able to access it, I can't. As far as Anthony being able to access it, he can find it and get in there. So it's just not, it's not the system that we need. And we're pulling those systems not only at Roe at our convenience station in Roe our recycling center, and our main transfer station, class 1, class 4 landfill. You know, that's 3 big places. We spend a lot of money every month because of the high-speed internet that it takes for the other 2 places compared to what we're getting service-wise. Right now, it's being monitored. It ain't pretty, but it's being monitored, and I think Shannon probably knows what I'm monitoring it with. So I know what's going on.
What are we doing with the money in between? They like dark.
The money gets deposited every day, and then I'm
saying that they're on the side of
the only money that'll be there is your teal drawers, and there's 3 of them now, and they're correct, and they're set up. Now, I've been dealing with auditors and our state and our county audit committee, working with them also on all this stuff. So we're square there.
Okay.
We're good. So what I did with that was mentioning that not only do they go into the safe, they each one have an individual till drawer with a lock that when they close out, when Miss Patty gets done with her day, she does her deposit, she locks her drawer, and then it goes in the safe. So you actually got 2 locks before anybody could ever touch it on top of the lock on the door and the gate. So it's like I said, I'm responsible for their till. I'm signing for it, but they're also responsible themselves. And somebody's going to make a mistake. Everybody does. It's going to be a little off here or there. So far, it ain't happened. But it did happen 56 cents, but I got it took care of. But anyways, that's been the closest problem we've had. So I'm just locked down on it. Key control, combination control, just like it needs to be. I mean, it's rock and roll. Everybody doesn't have, only individual that has keys to get into our tool room now is the one that's designated operator mechanic. And then he's got 2 guys that be working with him off and on. And then if it's a rainy day, I have an operator that can come down off the hill when they can't dig dirt and come down and assist in mechanic work. But he controls those tools and those keys. I'm trying my best to get a list of equipment and everything that we still got left there. Minor things we didn't have. We were gracious enough. We worked out, and we got about $600 and some worth of tools. Right now, we're kind of semi-set unless something major happens. And a lot of the big stuff I brought in myself, it's mine. But, as we need it. But I'm not do that every day. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nothing to walk off. But with the keys being hid behind the doors and sitting out, all that crap's gone. Those keys are no longer workable. The only person that has those keys is myself, my tool operator, and my scale operator. And they're locked up in the safe. So that's the best that I can do. I mean, you got to get it locked down and secured. There's way too much. A lot of adult leadership need to be done, and people are just doing as they please. And so if you hear somebody complain, well, I can't walk in the office and talk to them. That's right. You can't walk in the office and talk to them unless I'm there. Unless you're a county commissioner and you identify yourself who you are, then you can come in. But other than that, unless you're with waste management and you deal with people like that. But other than that, common Joe ain't walking in. He can come to the window, and I've 5 or 6 like that already. And they got a little aggravated until they saw the reason why. And I explained it to them. Next, I kind of cover a couple of things there real quick.
What you got?
Oh, I got a ton of stuff. You want to start on? Okay, so you mentioned our road tractor. He is still working with us right now, for now. It ended up being just a hair over $25,000 worth of damage. I negotiated with him, worked it out, and said, well, it hadn't seen its first service yet. And it was at 40,471 miles.
Wow.
And had not had its first service. But anyways, long story short about that, let's not get paid yet. I did some negotiations, and I actually found where a notification was supposed to be sent from Worldwide Trucking out of the different state where it came from, just up the road. With that said, I moved our business from there to a Tennessee company in Johnson City instead of going all the way to Abingdon, Virginia.
This $25,000 was done by an employee?
Well, it didn't help none. It had to be done by somebody. Now, there was $2,258 that probably wasn't that individual's fault, but it could have been. But anyways, long story short, I got them to go ahead and negotiate that out with me as part of a service / you didn't call us for a service and a recall. Well, the recall didn't cover all of what's in there. So we worked it out. But anyways, $25,383.53 came up to $26,040-some, $2,646. I said 26,000. She got a stroke. $2,646 is what I got.
$2,600 what it cost us?
That's after. We'll never get a chance to do that again. It was just by dumb luck that I found that.
Real negotiate.
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
That was dumb luck. Just
You justified that payment.
the thing about it, to lease a vehicle.
Right.
I mean, that's how close we were. Now, the same individual, see what these guys don't understand. I walk that equipment at least once a week. And Brad will tell you, as an old grumpy ass NCO, that we have an ability to look and remember. Well, right now we're working on a fuel tank on the Volvo truck, which we bought off you guys. Now, the first time it was hit, operator comes straight in and told us. When I took it over, the operator came to me and said, I told Steven about this, and this is what it is. I went and looked at it with the operator or the truck driver. We went over it, looked at everything. I said, cool. Well, I get back from vacation. I'm saying, why's that truck sitting there? Why is it not on the road? I'm getting a little more aggravated, a little bit more aggravated. And then finally, my mechanic / operator comes in and says, well, it's got a leak. I said, yeah, I can see it pouring out right there. Well, it's just a drip. But anyways, long story short, same place it was hit, in the same place. I know exactly where it happened. It happened at the other landfill. When you go on that tipper, there's nothing we can do. We got to use them. Our walking floors don't walk because you can't compact on a walking floor trailer. You're cut and dry. Sir? Oh, but anyways, long story short, hit the same daggum rocks that's sitting around the monitoring well on the main landfill over at Sullivan County. I know exactly what it did. And the thing about it is, so he's been canceled, and he's going to get a written counsel this week. Now, it's hard to find truck drivers. I've got one waiting in the wings. Only thing I got to call him, give him 8 hours notice. He'll be here, run for us as long as we need him to. You know, I told him he'd volunteer, but I'm going to pay him a little bit. He's a good buddy of mine out of the military. He'll do it. He can run a 3-tank tanker. You know, it's no problem. But I don't have to call him down unless we're in an extreme emergency. Then I've got another individual that we're in negotiations right now. So we'll either, at the end of the week, need 2 truck drivers or just need 1. The one that I'm negotiating with right now, I hope fills up that one empty slot I have. Now, I have other truck drivers. I got a B rated truck driver right now. It's running roll off and the front loader, part-time individual. And then I've got my go-to individual that can do anything. And they do it. Matter of fact, I called them the other night at 8 o'clock and said, hey, we forgot this somehow or another. I dropped it. And she took 2 containers to the Watauga Lake cleanup and never fussed, cussed, or moaned or groaned. She was good to go. So, I've got people like that works for us. I mean, we got good people.
Chris, on those tractors, it has to be a dual tandem, don't it?
Yeah, there's no way for the weight that we haul.
I didn't know. I was just, because Old Dominion Freight used to sell their trucks.
I know.
They had 700,000 miles worth of my motors, and at one point you get them like $6,000. They cab trucks.
Yeah. And that would be super.
But
Even to be super if we bought one, if it had
just as a backup,
if it had 425 horsepower or better, because it takes a lot to pull these hills up here. If not, they're going to be shutting down like a couple other ones. We got one discuss that here in a moment.
yeah, I was just saying as a backup, cheap option, just sitting there, but they're all single axle.
Yeah, single axle won't cut it. We won't get DOT, and if we get pulled over, and it's just not, it'll kill it. It'll kill it in a heartbeat, and you understand that. But anyways, long story short, that individual will get written counseling. If he doesn't like it, then I can just tell him hasta la vista, amigo. It's just the way it is.
And have them keep tearing them up. I mean,
I can't afford, let me rephrase it. We cannot afford to pay for stupidity.
okay.
I hate to say it like that. It's just plumb stupid to tear up equipment
The same way, multiple times.
multiple times.
You gotta learn from those mistakes.
Yeah, you gotta learn from those mistakes. It's just like tires. We go through I've bought more tires in the last 8 weeks, 9 weeks than I've probably bought in the last 15 years.
And that because everything was just bald eagles
Well, you had that, but we also had some
mishaps.
All right. Now I've got a rotation with our tires. So we moved from one vehicle to the next, to the trailer or whatever. Now, mentioning trailers, right now we have one trailer down because of lack of tarping system, which I've got it ordered. It's coming in with an additional tarp to fix one of ours that's ripped up. I've sewed it, done everything. It's just one of those things. I've had the same individual has abilities that when he's coming, going into one of the landfills, and I followed him, not to be nosy. I followed the individual, and I seen him cut the curve too close, and there's an apple tree and an old cherry tree right there, and it knocks up. Every time you break one of those lips, them duck bills, that's $12. That's $12 just for the bracket. That's not counting the duck bill. It's $36 altogether. Well, you start knocking 4 and 5 of them off a leak, it adds up, guys. That's just like a leak, just like on the Volvo truck. When you all sold it to me, it was great. No problems. Same individual, coming off the Dago, huh?
It's a cream puff.
It was yes, sir. I mean, as far as that goes, it was, really.
It was, we never had no trouble.
Never had no trouble. But the thing about it is, you can't go up on that tipper, and then when you load off and you come off, you got to take your time, like it's your vehicle, like it's your brand new.
You gotta be a truck driver.
You got to be a truck driver. That's the thing. You got to be a truck driver. There's people that can drive a piece of equipment and call themselves a truck driver. There's a guy that can take it and drive it. Now, believe it or not, minus the smoke stains, he's a good truck driver. I'll say it because he's sitting there. But he is. He can come down our holler even when it was tore all to pieces, pushing snow, and he knew exactly where every one of them humps and bumps was, lying or not, Willie. And he kept from hitting, because if you hit one of them right, you're going to be off in Peter's Hollow in the daggum branch doing the backstroke. But anyways, that said, the individual's being counseled on that. They're having a hard time finding the oil pan on that one. They've ordered 2. They've not been the right ones. I've patched it 3 times now. This last patch, we actually pulled it apart, but it's composite. So it's composite, so it's only going to last so long, because once it saturates that, it's going to eventually bust. So I'm doing my best to get it rolling. So right now we got 2 trucks. Well, let's see. I'd say by 10 o'clock tonight, the other truck will be up and ready to go in the morning. That's the kind of guys I've got working for us now. They'll work until it's done. But with that said, we've got trailers. Like I said, we've got one trailer, no tarp, one trailer's ripped tarp, which I've got it sewed right now, but I've got a new tarp coming for it. Several of them, the duckbill restraints are not there. I've got those ordered. They should be here anytime, like anything else. It takes time to get the equipment here and get the parts here. We have brake systems on 2 of the individual trailers that we've had to rob off of one and fix the other. And the reason for it is none out of the 6 trailers that's there, none of them have any matching air brake systems on them. I know that sounds crazy, but they don't. So that's where we're at there. So it's a constant battle. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a constant battle staying on top of it. Speaking of small vehicles, the Chevrolet transport truck that we've been utilizing to run our trustees back and forth in situations like that, the old truck of yours, we basically reworked the whole ignition system on it, and it runs like a top now. So it went through it, cleaned everything out, so it's good to go. Gave it a good, you're smiling. But anyway, trucks that's run over, we're going to take and pull the engine transmission out of one, put it back into the other one. So hopefully we can get Miss Kelly's recycling vehicle running, or maybe if Mr. Sam's and the school work with us, we'll go and if we get that dump situation where we can move it over. I've got a boatload of equipment, a boatload of big trucks, heavy equipment parts that are no longer serviceable or usable. A small van. I'm gonna pull it up there, and if y'all are in agreement tonight, and I'd like for y'all to take a vote to move forward with, go ahead and gov dealing off a bunch of stuff to get you all a list for next month, so we can go ahead and gov deal it off. If you'll give me a motion, I'll spend my time on that some. There's just a lot of little things here and there, and with that said, I mean, we can move forward. We've got 18 wheelers up there. I've got it worked out right now. We're looking at the 2 of the other Volvos that's up there, our Freightliner and the Volvo. I've talked to TCAT, their shop, whichever one that looks like it needs a motor complete go through. They're willing to do that. We buy the parts, do the machine shop and all that. The other one, it's just an overheating problem. I think it's something we can fix pretty easy, pretty quick. So that way we do have a backup truck. Our KW is sitting up there that's pulling our water. It's good to go. We just went all the way through it again the other day. It's old. It's like me, it's real old and Brad. But other than that, it can still function for a little while. It makes it to Watauga and back. That's all that matters. With a load of leachate. The rolling coal, Peterbilt sitting up there that they blew the engine out of and didn't run it. I don't know how you blow a whole sidewalk out of a straight line 12. It's a big motor in that truck. So, but I found out later on that the truck driver was driving it, and he's no longer there, so we don't have to worry about that no more. So we got those sitting there. We've got front loaders. We've got, and we'll get rid of the burnt one that shouldn't be there anyways. I'm going to want to get rid of the other old gray one and get rid of it. Keep the white one that we got from the city, and we're fixing it up right now for a backup because the roll-off and that front loader has not been for their services according to the electronic records on it. So those trucks and vehicles got to
What
go.
was that Ford that Benny was driving? Because you got your own ride, right?
No,
He's driving it.
I've been driving it. I leave it up there most of the time.
I was just curious. I didn't know.
No. I mean, if you look out there, it's really a brown truck. I swear to God it is. But I ain't saying nothing against it. Just when I got it, somebody else was driving. Benny was not driving that truck. When Benny first got that truck about a year late after he got it, we used the truck for park and rec. I went to Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and it didn't look nothing like it did when I took it over. And it was supposed to, you remember, it was supposed to went and got detailed and all that. Well, my big furry foot, it ain't. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, you know, and Benny had second in command up there, could have done a whole lot better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
He had individuals, and I found it out. I mean, I found out just, of course, I've got a different attitude than Benny had. If I tell you to do something, I expect you to do it. If I tell you to do it the second time, and I'm standing there and watch you and make you do it, the third time I tell you to do something, you better do it or you cry out the door. They're just, it's just ridiculous. When I have a truck driver tells me he's never opened the hood on a vehicle,
he's not on his pre-trip. You have to do a pre-trip.
So what I'm doing to make it faster now is I have my mechanic / operator come in. He does a pre-check on everything that morning. The first truck that's hooked up, ready to roll, he's already went through everything. Then he makes sure he goes to the truck driver right when he gets there and says, is there anything that you see that needs to be done? That's safety, guys. That's my kids, your kids.
Have to do that, especially on aged equipment, more so than if all your stuff was new.
I ain't never owned nothing but junk all my life. I keep my wife in a good car, and I know how to keep junk running. I mean, that's just what it is, period, cut and dry. But you've got to have other individuals that's willing to keep that junk running. So with that said, other than that, both dump trucks are running now. We did have a little snafu while I was gone, but Butch down at Napa worked with them and qualified individuals, mechanic operator, dealt with them, and we got it squared away. I mean, it was something that nobody could foresee happening. We've done a lot of stuff that I'm going through that I'm not real happy about, and there's nothing I can do about it as far as, you know, going back and saying, why wasn't this done? You know what I'm saying? So can't fix what's already there. But like I said, we're down to really 3 good trailers, and we've got 2 that we keep on the road, but it's piecing and parting us to death trying to keep them going. I'm not asking for new trailers. I'm just going to have some downtime with it so they can actually rework it. So we've got the 1 trailer minus the tarp that is up and ready to go. Just as soon as we get that tarp, half a day, that tarp system be on there, then we'll be up that trailer, then we can start rotating. That's the key, rotating them out. We're keeping all the safety stuff, brakes, lights. Lights is miserable. We've got a rat population up there that's ungodly, and they like to go in there and chew those wires and chew their hoses off of them. So we're trying to get rid of that too, slowly but surely, but it's happening. So with that said, equipment and recycling, the skid steer with the grapple has not been serviced according to Stowers, and
Very new machine, isn't it?
yes, sir. It's got, I don't want to tell you, I left 2 of my folders. Probably you're happy about that at the office. I'm sorry, but I think it's got 3,600 some hours on it. It's not been serviced. We've got a forklift there that needs its service. The air compressor system that's utilized there to the compaction system is down. Trying to get the parts in for it. It's a screw air compressor, and they're hard. I know why people buy them, but they're very quiet. But why have you got a conveyor belt running there going? Why
Overkill for the application.
I agree. But anyways, long story short, we're probably looking at $1,700 to get it back running.
So when they come to service the skid steer?
Hatley put me on the Merkel. Well, that's where we go to another one. You know Hatley at Stowers. Okay, so I call Hatley at Stowers, which I hadn't dealt with Stowers since I sold my big equipment. But anyways, long story short, I called him. I said, I know you're in pain. I know you're hurt because he just broke his leg. Not just broke it, just about tore it off. But anyways, I said, I got a D6 that has not, it's got 6,600 hours on it. It has not been touched.
This the dozer we just bought last year.
Yes, sir.
It was supposed to
have a service plan.
Have a service plan.
That's 6 years.
And it's 6 years long, and they were supposed to contact us and say, shut the dozer down, we're coming to service it today. Or this week.
Evidently, wherever that contact goes, and Hadley's working on that, but I can't.
He's the man that stood right there and told me.
Hatley did?
Yes, when he sold it to us. See, he came.
Well then, okay, let's rephrase this. Wherever he came, or whoever he had contacted, did not contact us back. So I don't know.
Let's get on
This
top
thing's
of that.
computerized. I mean, it'll.
Oh, it's sitting there, yeah.
That's
They
too.
had to reset the whole computer system, the whole 9 yards. The whole 9 yards had to be redone. I am working on that. I'm working with Hatley and James over there. We're getting it squared away, but I mean, you've got that piece of equipment. Then you've got skid steer, forklift that we got a bunch of stuff right there.
That can blow at any time.
Well, and then you got trucks that are supposedly being called for the service and maintenance and haven't. Or if it's getting called, I don't know who they're talking to. But I'm getting that changed a little at a time, and it's a battle. I'm telling you, boys and girls, it's a battle. It's about, but the equipment right now we're running, we're operating, we're doing a whole lot more efficient. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be running 2 trucks off the transfer station and utilizing that with, let's see, tomorrow's Tuesday. So we have just a little bit of room out. We'll do it Wednesday, so we'll be in good shape.
Remember that.
Bad news?
Remember that 6-year service plan that they promised.
And I wish somebody would have kept paperwork on stuff like that, but I can't find none of that
It
information.
should have been in minutes from about November, December meeting last year.
I'll go back and look.
It's about November, December, wasn't it?
Probably
It's
December,
cold.
January.
Yeah, because it was gonna be after the first year.
Well, I know, because I was getting quotes in December. So it had to be January when that purchase was made, because what they paid, because there's a grant that paid
Yeah.
January, February, I'd imagine. I don't think it was November.
We use partial of the grant to.
We'll look back.
We'll find it. With that said, we're near estimate that. One thing I did have happen today, and it's no big deal to go ahead and we can get it out of there, but I talked to Ron, our maintenance individual, the air conditioner, heater. It was supposed to be under warranty. It went down again. I can't fix it again. I've done fixed it twice. I just don't foresee it happening. And everybody was still there when it went down the first time. Nobody could find the warranty information. I went to the Lowe's and they couldn't pull up anything off of it because we used our credit card, mode credit card, nothing there. So I spoke with Ron, called him after he'd already left to go home this afternoon, and he got me a quote coming from Home Depot, $1,288 plus about $200 the miscellaneous parts. Put a split unit in there, a little mini split. Got to keep them women cool, and you got to keep them warm in the winter or the best you can.
Got to have it.
You got to have it. Period, cut, dry. You're locked up in a box with windows that don't open. You got doors on each end, but I can't have security on a screen door, guys. I'm sorry, it just won't work. So I just want to let you know, Patty might be nice enough to loan me Ron for a day, half a day, and get that. So I'll go ahead and get a PO tomorrow if that's no problem.
Let's pause right here and get motions on stuff we need to, gov deal stuff and different
Okay.
things before we go any farther.
I want to make a motion that we go ahead and let Chris be working on a list to bring to us next month to put some of this stuff up.
Second that motion.
What exactly is the motion?
To get rid of some of the surplus stuff that he's got up there that he thinks he can do without.
Oh, I know I can do. I can use the space.
And, be a roll call, please.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Nancy Brown. Yes. Steve Furrow.
Yes.
Yes.
Jason Clausen.
Yes.
Jason Razak.
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Thank you. And you can ask any of these two guys back here. They'll tell you what kind of stuff we got.
He's got enough junk up there, he can probably buy him a spare truck.
Quality.
Honestly.
I mean,
He does, he's got enough junk probably to buy him a spare truck when he gets rid of all this.
all that stuff is sitting back in the hall, it's been there for years.
From the
Get
curb
rid
to the hall.
of it too.
Yeah, I've pulled everything,
Like from the tire dump back in the holler, can you get rid of
That
that?
old car.
that stuff's, it's out of here, son. It's gonna be like a dose of salt's going through
Get
goose.
rid of it.
I mean,
Nobody bids on it, what happens to it then?
Scrap it.
we'll scrap it. It'll head straight to the scrapper.
Have we got a way to load some of that stuff?
Well, that's a good question. Hopefully it'll be out. Huh?
No reserve. I'm like.
Oh, yeah, no reserve.
How long does it have to stay on there?
It's usually 30 days is what we've been running stuff.
Yeah.
I think some of it's running like some computers and stuff are running like 90 days or something like that.
30 days is not.
30 days is max on that
Yeah.
stuff.
I just wondered what the law.
But like the old compactor, it's got crayon compactor teeth on it. Well, those hubs and stuff, there's a lot of people like Waste Management still utilizes those and stuff. It ain't got a motor in it. It ain't really got much of nothing. It's got a good blade and good compactor rims on it. That's about it. So that should bring some money. We got a dump truck sitting up there, doesn't have rear end under, don't know if it starts, don't know nothing about it. We've got a burnt front loader. Needs to be gone. Should have been gone before this amount of time because somebody would have bought it for, but now it's too late, really. So, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff.
Is there a minimum you bid on it? I mean, like if you've made more money scrapping it than you would if somebody bid on
Well,
it?
when you scrap one, you gotta get rid of it, and that's what we was just talking about, like that big compactor that don't move under its own. It's probably gonna cost you more in getting the equipment up there and get it loaded and get it hauled to the scrapyard than what you're gonna recover.
That compactor, even without its motor, it's probably runs around about 66,000. No, it's more than that. It's about 66 tons altogether with fluid filled rims and the whole 9 yards. I'm surprised the rims hadn't started leaking.
You're probably talking $18 a mile once they get it on a truck to load it
Yeah, it's high.
or more.
Yeah, I mean, if we
I
could
was wondering
take,
what happened if nobody bid on it. I mean,
Then we gotta contend with that.
we'll contend with it, but I'm gonna contend with it I'm gonna go lease a bunch of big cutting torches and put my boys on Saturday afternoons, cutting it up small enough to where we can load it with a daggum track hoe. And then maybe we can refix the bottom of that track hoe and get our running gears back. But okay, we got that one. I
What
appreciate
else we
it.
need a motion on the HVAC?
I don't know if we,
You got enough money in the fund to do that?
I'm gonna tell you guys, we're tight. I'm telling you. Unless Miss Patty wants to pay for it out of her building and grounds fund.
How much is it?
$1,300 or less.
Sure, to get
We're
it.
right around 13.
I'll get it online.
All right, can you do me one in the morning because you feel sorry for them women?
Yeah,
What?
you're wrong to put it in the morning.
I'll text him as soon as I'm
He'll
done.
handle it all.
All right, cool. All right, well, thank you, Miss.
We need,
Don't forget me on that. I get credit for that one good deed. I don't get credit for much good deeds around
That was
here.
a great deed.
Back to the
Sir.
scrap, I'm not trying to jump in, but we've sold stuff that didn't sell good deals. We called around to all the scrap places. Kingsport Automail, they sent tractor trailers to get our stuff. We didn't have to fool with it. They winched it up, they done everything. They,
Yeah, that's what-
it was a whole machine.
Good plan B.
They winched it on the trail. We didn't fool with it. But we didn't get as much as we would have if we'd have scrapped it, but we didn't have nobody worked on it.
nobody
They
get.
came there, they got it, it's our responsibility.
If we can do that, that's what I'll do.
So some of the stuff we had to sell like that, they just picked it up in our parking lot. We didn't have to fool with
I mean, it's just like, I don't know why they pulled all the tiles, our drain tiles out, but I've got a half the size of this room and probably stacked up 3/4 of the height, wouldn't you say back there? Of all the drain tile that was pulled out for absolutely no reason, could have been cleaned out. Now we got a situation that I've got to talk to you in next month about on top of it because he's going to smack me. But anyways, with that said, I think we're pretty good on that. Thank you, Miss Patty, for that.
You're
welcome.
$1,300 help.
They need a motion on, getting the HVAC replaced.
No,
Yeah,
you
right.
won't have to do a motion. No. No.
What, for spending money?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right.
I'll just have Ron do it out of my budget. I'm on order, but I'll be
Everybody heard that. Don't let her back
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
All right.
I know, right?
That's right.
So with that said, I've got to pick your all's brain. I went through what I could find online and I couldn't find anything. But sometime around January 2021, does anybody remember a bid for our testing for our leachate and methane testings? Okay, with that said, let's just go ahead and let's move forward. With nothing else said. With that, let's just say, on April 12th, 2023, your acting director signed that, and we're under that contract because I was under the assumption it was squared away, what I was told and what I talked to. And the deeper I dig into stuff, sometimes I find that T's are not crossed, I's are not dotted, and things aren't correctly done per se. But we are stuck in a contract because he was your acting director at that time. He did sign off on that.
How long is the contract for?
It's for the season, and it did not give me a drop dead date, but it'll get, they did 21's testing, and they're honoring they did 22's testing. They're honoring 21, 22 with 23 by his signature. I held him to that. Okay. So with that said, I'll move forward into testing real quick. So.
When you say testing, I want you to be a little bit more specific here. When you say testing, I want you to be a little bit more specific.
Okay, under the qualifications of the Class 1 landfill where we did closure, post-closure, which we're still just in the closure. We're not officially did post-closure in our Class 1, which we share with City of Elizabeth. If you go to the transfer station, you look to your left, that's all Class 1 up there. All right, right now it's being tested for methane, groundwater, contamination, and leachate. That's what this contract's for. I understand why he got nervous. He signed it. He didn't holler at me, of course, or wasn't even supposed to be hollered at the time. But anyways, long story short, with that said, that's the testing that we do. Now, our leachate is tested every time we dump it. It's tested City of Johnson City, and then we also have testing that comes through SM&E. All right.
Is that tested through this same company you're talking about, or is this, we have to pay separately for have that tested?
Every test is the same company.
Okay.
They do our leachate monitoring also, but we also have our leachate monitored where we dump it at.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so we're getting double tested, but they still have to have qualified engineering services to do this. So with that said, we just went through our methane, and let me break this down to y'all. I was going to draw you a nice pretty picture, but I didn't have time enough to do it. So anyways, our Class 1's sitting up there. And landfill goes through about 5-6 stages, okay? What's bad about that landfill, we don't have a liner, okay? So usually you have a liner, and we'll just basically say trash, liner, cover, and then you have a leachate system here underneath that trash between it and the membrane, okay? Ours doesn't have a membrane. It has a compacted clay liner, which is good, could be bad. Depends on what kind of solvents and things of that nature gets in there. And I'm not gonna get to the chemical crap. I can if you want me to, but I just really don't think y'all are interested right now. But the long story short, we're pumping leachate, okay? We're pumping major amounts of money for absolutely, positively no reason at all. Period. Cut right. It ain't Benny. It wasn't me. It was back before Ed even. Mr. Buckles had passed away. When they did the situation, they did the leachate systems, and it came in, okay? Our leachate that's coming out is only about 500s contaminated with heavy metals and about 1200s of ammonia compared with what it was 18 years ago, where we were pumping out about 50 parts per million ammonia and about 175 parts per million heavy metals. So it's went down. With that said, our landfill, our Class 1 that we share with City of Elizabeth and still, that Class 1's already went through its acidification, which is where It's rotted, it's came down, it's compacted itself. The ground that's laying on top of it, every time it rains, it compacts a little bit more. It's quit that. That's period. All that's coming through our trash right now is groundwater, rainwater, infiltration, okay? That we can fix. I've got a plan on fixing that. We're going to have to spend some money, but the only way we're going to save money, we can spend $90,000 today and save $900,000 in the next 6 years. We can spend $90,000 today and we can go into post-closure, which means we're no longer having to maintain monitoring for 10 more years as long as it stays clean. Now, with that said, and the reason I know it's went through its acidification situation is we're not pumping methane. We're zero. Our methane gases are zero. And this was just the other day. I mean, I can show you the report if you'd like to. I can go over it with you. I can send it to you, but we're pumping zero methane. With that said, next month, it may be November, I'm sorry. Either October or November, we have ground well monitoring. That will tell us if we're having any leachate, any heavy metals, ammonia, anything of that nature. If it's clean, there is absolutely no reason we can't move ahead with the situation I've already discussed with Nashville to work on. That would give us another 10 years of C&D. We'll have to spend some money, but you got to spend money to make money. You see what I'm saying, everybody? And I can go down, I can draw you pretty little pictures if y'all want me to. I don't mind to. It doesn't bother me in a bit. But trust me, I've been around this stuff since I left the Army. And since 1990, I've done nothing but landfills and stuff. Coming here, been all over. So we can work that. We can make it happen. Now, Cliff Von Cannon or not, he is a chemical-minded individual. And he owes me because my grandfather kept him working whenever he was a young boy at them plants down there, sending and paid for part of his schooling to go down there and get his chemical degree. So he's willing to work with me. I'm talking to the guy from Japan who's now a California resident, which he's kind of a tree hugger, to go ahead and if we have any ammonia and it's as light as I think it's going to be, we can aerate that out. And then if we can work with City of Elizabeth, because they use anaerobic instead of non-anaerobic, then we could start actually pumping there. Of course, we'll have to have a clean bill of health on doing that, and that's long ways down in the future. So there's a way to fix this. Give us some more lifestyle or lifetime in airspace. Now, with airspace spoke of, our C&D right now, they had us out of our boundaries, which I don't think we are. This is and this is kind of going into the notice of violations. Had us out of boundaries, incomplete as far as drainage and working as far as erosion sedimentation control. I'm working on that, about got it fixed. We're going to spend some money, but I've got part of that money's coming back. And then our airspace. Well, come to find out, the last time it was flown and our engineering company utilized, they didn't use true LiDAR, they used photogrammic. We've got kudzu over my head. And I'm 5 foot, I used to be 5'8", I think I'm about 5'6" now. My hair's fell out. But anyways, long story short, photogrammic compared to LiDAR goes all the way to the ground. Photogrammics takes what it sees. So I went ahead, because they're requesting us to fly, I went ahead and requested bids. The company, the SM&E, was $5,500 or $6,500. I got it flown for $4,500. Of course, I got them in a bid war. So we've got that done. It's being processed now. It's what the state wanted. We need it anyways. I'm not so sure that the ones that they did this last report on even came off the proper benchmark that it was designed from. You don't go off the right benchmark, you got problems. If you do assumption of benchmarks, you got problems. So we may have 6 more years, we may have 2 years. It just depends. but I'm pushing it, ma'am.
When will this be back?
We'll actually should have our LiDAR back sometime at the end of this month, October. Takes a little while to process it and everything, but we've got our 2 major control points. Oh, that's something else. The flying club that comes up there, they got all excited because we put a master control point up there. I went and talked to them. If anybody's been called by them, it's good to go. I talked to them. I told them that's the only thing that's going there. Life is good. Okay, so they understand that. So if you get those calls. With that said, as soon as we get that report, then hopefully next month I'll be able to give you time enough to utilize and work. Now, let's go from there to the reason we're getting this leachate. We've got drainage problems up there that needs to be corrected. We got improperly placed or improper soil compactions on our class 1 landfill. We've got cracks and erosion coming out of that thing like it's terrible. It's just terrible. It should have been done right, was supposed to have been done right. But I'm telling you, from 18 years ago to today, the change in the soils is just unbelievable. And we've got big, large freezers opened up, as wide as that and this long. Well, every time a raindrop hits that, guess where it goes? It goes straight down, hits the leachate, comes right out, and guess what? It's $9,000 a month we're spending right now. $9,000 a load, that we're spending right now. I'm going to cut that. One way or another, I'm going to cut that. The drainage ditches that are sitting there, they're covered up in stone, trees that should not be growing in that drainage ditches. That causes infiltration underneath that supposed liner. We've got to fix that. I'm working on that. I started on it the second weekend I was there. After the 3rd copperhead, I said, boys, I ain't asking y'all to do this no more. I mean, it's just ain't worth getting an inmate or somebody in there to get bit. I'm sorry. I mean, bees, I can get rid of them. Copperheads, they don't give you no warning. So I just asked them to stop.
And you start back on that, when the weather gets cold.
As soon as it frosts, we'll be in there on the cold days because the sun hits that all day long. You realize that, don't you?
Right.
Basin. So we're going to get rid of that. I don't know if anybody's been up there and noticed, the blind curve going into the demo ain't there no more. We took the trees down. I got it cleaned up, trying to get the safety factor. Now let's go back into, and I'm sorry I'm going over this. I had a nice long plan and I left it in my office. Let's go back to violations. Our notice, closure, post-closure on our C&D. I spoke with Mr. Lamb. Me and Ms. Watson's been working on that. And the $125,000 last commission meeting y'all moved, that is going toward our closure, post-closure on C&D. I have a neighbor, adjoining property owner there, who has been moving a lot of dirt. And I've worked out a deal with that individual that we're going to be able to bring that high-quality clay that we need for compaction to get our closure on our C&D. He's going to allow us to have that. And the whole thing we have to do, I went and I took my time. We went and fixed 150-foot of fence, put a gate in. And we're working with that right now. So if there's no problem with anybody with that, the state of Tennessee loves it. We don't have enough cover. We don't have the quality, let me rephrase it. We don't have the quality of cover that we need to close that C&D when it's time for closure. See what I'm saying? We still have a lot of money we got to spend, but that $125,000 plus the 46,000 cubic yards of clay, which we can adjust and manipulate. Actually, I met with the engineer today, or not engineer, contractor, what it would cost. They're going to manipulate that with us. I have to, by the end of the week, get the information to them, and we should be good on that notice. That was a notice I think Mayor Woodby sent out. That was sent out back in March, and then it came out, the second notice was August 31st. So we've got that. It's being worked right now, and we're getting adjustments there. The other notice of violation was the boundaries and the LiDAR and the airspace. I've got that worked on. The third part of the notice of violations that we had was our tire pit. I don't know if anybody's been up there, but your tires are moving out. It's costing us, but our tires are moving. Okay, we're getting them out of there. I've got one individual plus an inmate. When we get time enough, that's all they're doing. They're taking fix tire dismantler. We went ahead and rebuilt it and got it fixed. So you can crush an 18-wheeler tire in there. Now, we've done it. And it'll take the rim right off. We're good. We're getting that metal out of there where it was stacked up. That's leaving. I'll show you all pictures from before and after next month if you want to. But we're getting that. That's really satisfying T-Deck. It's making them happy. We've got about, I think, I'll go over in just a minute, on our tire stuff, money that comes in from state of Tennessee tax. It don't even get close to covering. But we've got years and years of tires that's going away. We'll probably start taking tires again, probably the end of November. I can't keep up with the quantity that comes in. Just what comes in on commercial trash that, Joe Snuffy throws in there and they dump it. I mean, we're going in there and picking them out because we don't want them. If we get a grinder, we can grind it, put it in a certain spot somewhere. I know they quit taking them and put them in our landfill, cut ones because of the fires and stuff. I think once we get everything fixed on that, we can probably not have to worry about that again, hopefully. Long story short, that's where we stand on that. So that's the 3 notice of violations. We're working on those. We should have them completed and have a pat on the back or a kick in the butt next month's meeting. Any questions, concerns on that? All righty then. Okay, real quick. Damn it, John's gone. Household hazardous waste. Oh, John. Household hazardous waste collection on the Saturday the 21st.
October 21st?
Yes, sir. Sorry for such a late. I didn't find out about it until Friday afternoon.
What's the date?
21st. And I'm gonna go ahead and get that in the paper there.
What's the hours on that?
Sir?
Hours on that?
Probably be somewhere around 8:30 till 2.
Is that gonna be at the recycling center?
Yes, sir. Recycling there on Cherokee. What is that address? Cherokee Drive. Yeah. What is it?
Park Drive.
Cherokee Park Drive. Yes, sir.
8:30 to 2.
Yes, sir. With that covered.
Is there any specifics on that?
Ma'am?
Is there any specifics on that about what?
I will, I'll send it out to you. I've got to finish my flyers. I just actually got the flyer today.
If you'll send me a flyer, I'll put it on the website and our
Awesome.
social media page
Awesome.
too.
Thank you. Oh, speaking of that, y'all see Anthony. I know he's IT guy. Pat him on the back and you see Miss Hill. She's not a Hill no more, is she?
She's a Stevens.
Miss Stevens, who used to be Miss Hill that works for her, pat her little head and say thank you. We got everything on the internet on our website. It's correct finally. So we're good to go there. Price wise and everything. So you don't have to have a call that says, they charged me $52.50 up that there. And it says on the internet that it's $42.75 or whatever it is. Anyways, long story short, that's done. Curtain burner, I've got it back up and ready to run. We're actually probably will light it on Wednesday and get it rolling, but we are certified and set up to move with that. And we have to start burning so we can get our 3-hour burn test squared away on that. And that'll probably be sometime in November, December timeframe when we've got a little different atmospheric pressures. There was a couple more things I want to. Yeah, I talked about all that. New directors requirements, and I left that. I apologize. I had it last month before last, and then we didn't meet last month. I'll tell you what the best thing to do. Let me send every one of you except Willie, and I'll hand carry you one. The requirements that I think set forth, and we'll go from there. And I feel pretty good about that. With that, I kind of gave my reports and everything else where we stand. Any questions, concerns?
Have you had anybody inquire about the record?
Oh yeah. I've got 2 employees there that's inquired, and I've got, I think 3 resumes but I have not advertised it yet.
Right.
Does that make sense? So, and I had some really good candidates for office secretary and administrative assistant, but
I had to have somebody that could handle doing the billings. I had to have somebody that had the experience. And I found somebody, and she's old like me, but she'll be all right. You know what I mean? And she was honest and good to deal with. So, Patty, you'll get to meet her tomorrow. Cindy Temple.
You're gonna send the requirements that you think to us by email, and then we're gonna discuss it in the next meeting.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to discuss it, make a hard line with it, and then advertise it. And here's the reason why. April is our drop dead date. Whoever decides that you all decide to take as the actual director is a drop dead date for the school to get certified in the state of Tennessee. Now, with that said, it is mandated by the state of Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation that you always have a operator on site. Now, they've allowed me, knowing that I have two different positions, to be within contact. All the boys and girls from TDEX got my phone number. All the girls and boys from TDEX know where I'm at. They know how to get a hold of me. They know how to get a hold of me. And they also know which two offices. So we've had some surprise visits, which was kind of interesting when we had trash coming out the ears with trucks poured up and making things. And I was able to get there within 5 to 10 minutes after TDEX there. So I'm trying to really, but I've got a good crew down here. I have no problems. They handle 90% of everything. So if I die tomorrow, you're good down there. Up there, you're still going to find somebody. But with that said, it is a directive by the state of Tennessee. So my idea right now, if we can't find good candidates, is to go ahead and send the scale master, which is a full-time employee that sits right there at the gate. Send that individual, let them get certified. They have no inkling to ever want to do the job as a director by no means. They don't want to have to deal with truck drivers, deal with operators, deal with trustees. I'm glad I thought about that too. And to deal with more than just the public, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm going to pick one of the operators that'll be there on site, or somebody that I feel confident that can handle that, that will be able to deal with that. So with that said, that's what we're looking at. And if we hire somebody, that individual too, if they don't have it, but I'd like to make that a request and a requirement. If not, they have to have it within 6 months. I mean, it's, like I told you, let me rephrase. I'm here for the citizens of Carter County. I'm not here from the government. I'm here. I'm just want to make sure it's took care of. You know what I'm saying? It's something that's a necessary situation. And I don't want to be over here more than what we've already discussed. And I really don't want to have to stay. You know, understand what I'm saying? I just don't want to have to. So it's just not good. Not good at all. Now, speaking of that, what I just mentioned, did any of the other directors or Benny or Stephen ever come to you guys and discuss community service for the convicts that are on parole or on, what do you call it?
Probation.
Probation, that's the word I was looking for. Did anybody ever talk to y'all about that? I have no problem with dealing with that. I have absolutely no problem, but I will not place those individuals with my trustees that the sheriff's department so graciously lets us have, even though we're going to have to pay $10 a piece for them, whatever amount it is a day, for ankle bracelets. But I'm not letting an ex-con, I've just been around it too much. I'm not letting an ex-con get with my trustees. It's just not good. It's just, the only thing I can see is bad things happening. And if we lose our trustees, whether they cost us $10 a day or they're free, that's a lot of labor and a lot of body. You know what I'm saying? So if we do, and they're going to be very controlled where they're going to be working. You know what I mean? They're not going to be in my tool room. They're damn sure not going to be in my office. So they'll be recycling, somewhere down there, or they'll be somewhere, but they'll be crushing tires. They'll be stacking tires in trailers, something, but they're not gonna be around my trustees, because I don't want to lose my trustees. And they're not gonna be somewhere where they're gonna be able to eyeball something. You know what I'm saying? It's just, ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So y'all are fine with that?
Why is this being brought up? I don't understand.
Well, they should have brought it up to you anyways. I mean, it's been happening. Actually, you've got an employee up there right now that,
It's a prison inmate.
no, they're on probation from a felony. They're felons on probation, and they have to do community service a certain amount of time.
Don't somebody have to fill out paperwork to accept that?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
There was paperwork filled out or supposedly filled out, and I have people showing up and they do have the paperwork, but it ain't got Benny's signature and it ain't got Stevens. And whoever filled it out and accepted it was somebody working in the office. So I have a problem with that, and I'm just being straight, brutally honest. I don't have a problem with working them, but they will be doing what I want them to do, and they ain't gonna be up there jacking around, and they ain't gonna be in my tool shed looking at something, and I hate to say it. And God bless them.
Who has the authority to do that other than the director?
Hey, Miss Collins, in all due respect,
I mean, I don't.
I've spent so much time with investigative officers and the situation and beating this thing to death. You know, it should have been Benny's decision, but somebody else made the decision evidently. And
Can the landfill benefit by having them up there? Or is it gonna be more trouble than it's worth?
I've got one that was signed off on, and he's been pretty good. He comes in on Saturday and he goes, and I've already told him what I want done. And he's been keying up step by step by step by step. But the only thing about it is I know his daddy. And I told his daddy, I said, if I call you, you better come and get him. And I said, he's out of here. He said he will do exactly what, and he has done.
How many hours are they required to get?
This one right here has got, he had 100 and some hours.
It's different hours.
Yeah, it's different hours depending on what it is.
Is it even legal?
Ma'am?
I'm asking.
Is it legal?
Yeah, if the place will
Somebody
do
else
the
signed
community
it.
service.
Somebody other.
I mean, if y'all tell me no, hey, I'm good with that too.
Well, I think
I want to know if somebody other than the director signed those papers. Is this even legal for them to come on?
It should have been approved by the director unless he's delegated something. But still, I mean, I would, the department head or the director or the elected official, whatever office this person's working in, should have signed this agreement. So I have no idea. I mean, I didn't know that we had folks like that working.
Oh, yeah.
Either.
I thought trustees were employees and trustees.
No, and it was intermingled there, and I just lost two good trustees because of some stupidity.
My opinion is if we're benefiting by the labor with not a whole lot of supervision and directive, let's do it. But if we can't, then let's not do it.
Yeah, and
Free labor is good.
I agree. And the thing about it is it can be cut off. If you work for me and on that situation, you're a probie and you're working like that, and I say, I don't want you, I make one phone call, tell you to leave, you better leave. And then your probation officer and you deal with that, but the 3 or 4 that's been up there, I had no contact, no paperwork other than the sheet signed, said they could be there, and it's a bad situation. So with that said, I don't know why, who, what. I don't mind doing it, but I'm asking your all's permission if you want it done. If you don't, son, I'll kick him out of there just like even the one that I've got lockstepped. It'll hurt his daddy's feelings, but I don't give a biggin.
You're the director. I feel you make that call. You're the one that has to manage them.
I mean, is there?
Miss Collin looks very, very disturbed, ma'am.
Is there somebody giving some guidelines as to what they can and can't do?
Well, first thing, I'm not gonna put them in a position to run a piece of
Well, I
equipment.
mean, not you. I mean, they come in with some
Yeah,
guidelines.
they have a list of stuff that they have to follow. You know, they can't be up there abusive, they can't be doing drugs, they can't be doing this, and that. I'll tell you what.
A copy of that, actually.
I will get y'all a copy of that also. And that was in my other packet too, and that's why I forgot about it till just now. I just thought it was interesting, the way that situation was. And like I said, you know, it's up to you guys, but let me go over that. I'll send y'all electronically. Willie, I'll hand carry one to you. I'll get that information.
And there probably needs to be some guidelines on our side, on the county side also, that if we accept this.
Hey, I put them on lawnmower. I put them up picking up trash. I put a vest on them.
I mean, in writing, that they're
Yeah, I know.
not allowed to do this, this, and this.
I got you.
Mr. Hardin, I just kind of see a
So I've never had any.
accident here, or not accident, but could be a mess here.
I was asked years ago.
If something was to happen to one,
I don't have a problem with
the liability.
According to that, we have no liability.
Yeah.
I've seen so far.
If we can do
I
it,
have-
start with that, but it'd be more trouble to manage it.
That is convicted felons
That
in
may
the
be-
state
That's
parolees.
a parolee.
Well, that'd come out of criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Department is.
That's TDOC.
They would have to, just like we would have. to
Some kind of waiver or something would have to
We
be.
would have to qualify with the court system. They would accept our evaluation of that inmate or that parolee.
I have not seen any of that paperwork.
Well, I mean, the courts has to approve it. They have, the probation officer, do you think?
They normally have a list of places that'll work with them, but if this is through TDOE, it's, the court is maybe out of it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe it is
Well, I
TDOC.
know.
Yeah, TDOC.
Yeah, TDOC.
Part of the sentencing being community service.
Well,
They
but
have to qualify back to the courts that has been fulfilled. So how they qualify that?
right, that's what I'm saying, but I don't think it's part of a sentence. I think they're just put on probation through the state and it's part of their probation requirements. I don't know that the court's monitoring it, as long as they get their community service hours.
Probation officers.
Probation officer would be monitoring it. But yeah, like, so years ago with the animal shelter, I mean, I did contracts and waivers and all that for volunteers and students want community service hours and all that. People signed, you know, liability waivers, that kind of stuff. I've never had a clue or ever been asked anything about people.
The liability is the concern.
That's what I'm,
That's why I'm here, guys, and I'm sorry I didn't bring my paperwork with me, but that's why I'm asking.
I think we need to see some paperwork before we
look into this.
Okay, just to cover us, I'm gonna put a quietus on it until you guys vote on it. If that's
So you're saying you're just gonna send this guy home
until further notice, right?
we need to vote on that?
I don't think so.
we
I can do
until
that as
further
correct.
notice of what?
Until
Madam,
we figure out how we can do it legally.
Somebody needs.
I'm sorry.
Are we asking Mr. Hardin to check into it, or what are we?
They got a little.
I'll get y'all the information and I'll give Josh the information also, and then let him. Because like you said, the animal shelter, we had waivers where they signed in, you know, like, kids came down there and did their community service for their
And it kind of waives the liability. They can do it for their Tennessee, their hope.
Tennessee
The
Hope
Tennessee Promise
Promise
or
or
their
whatever it was, yeah.
Don't you have to sign off on they did so many hours or whatever?
Yeah, every,
We have whoever they answer to come see us and say about the liabilities and all that, or
yeah, I don't see a problem with
they can
that.
send us a letter of
If
what.
they want to utilize us, I mean, hey,
Yeah, I mean, we need to
Maybe if you
know.
could get, the draft a letter
Find
to
out from them.
the committee, basically stating.
yeah, or we get one of the probation officer. I don't know who's the master blaster.
Yeah, then we'll know who give them authority.
Right, hopefully. And they changed people like underwear over there too. That's
Yeah, I
bad.
don't know if you may.
I'm just a guess, but it's 8:30 is ice cream time. You don't shoot the bull all you
All
want.
right. Probationary people, I'm done with my report because I kind of covered it all in mass chaos and I apologize. Our recycling program, I did meet, one other thing, I did meet with Eastman Chemical. Me and Bob Nave, who's our recycling manager down there, we met. I did a cursory walk through their contract. It's been sent back to Eastman. It's going through their legal. I met with them again. Agreement that we were looking at. We're looking between 120 and 150 tons a month easily coming from Tennessee Eastman of recyclables, which we'll be bringing in. Right now they're paying us the most on our Domitar and our cardboard. They're paying us the most on our PTE number one class. Kirby's buying the rest of it. I got Kirby and Clark in a bidding war on our newspaper. We've got a trailer load of that. Everything's down, guys. Like I told you the last time, it's like a stock market. It's up and down. But I'm a firm believer. If it's sitting there, it ain't making us money. If I can make $1.75 off of it, and do it today, compared to 6 months down the road and make $12.75, I need that airspace because we still have that quantity coming in. And once you start getting through that, then we got problems. Speaking of that, the old building behind the recycling center that we've been using for storage, that roof's all gone. I'm going to get with the city of Elizabeth and see what they're going to do as far as I've got a way to fix it. We'll go from there. Speaking of that, our transfer station, I'm not going to go into it, Brad, I'm sorry. Our transfer station, I do have the old plans. I'm going to meet with a civil engineer and a structural engineer to see if those plans. And the good thing about that is we do have soil tests right outside of that. So the expansion, Brad, that you and I spoke about a long time ago, and the rehab, instead of building a brand new one, we expand what we got and rehab what we got all at the same time. So we do our expansion, then we do our rehab. I've got a way to make it work. And it'll be a lot safer on the public, especially mom and pop that comes in their pickup trucks and throws 5 or 6 bags out compared to a commercial truck that comes in there with 50 bags on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's all workable. So we're going to work with that. And I'm sorry I took so long. I'll try to make it a little easier next month. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, prior chairman. Sorry, everyone. Brad, I'm sorry I'm into your ice cream time.
In half.
In half.
Commissioner comments.
I agree.
You're gonna start hating me like a redheaded stepchild.
Excuse me?
You're gonna start hating me like.
Oh, honey, I don't hate you. You might mention something I already know and I hadn't said anything.
Okay. Demolition dumpster at the convenience center around. Why is it down there? And the reason I'm asking is because we're having to guess the weight that's going in it. There's no scales that'll truck across or anything like that. It's not level.
Oh, go ahead.
It's weighed going into the landfill. Why are we not making the construction and demolition go to the landfill? And get paid and pay by the ton instead of by a gift?
Can I answer that question real quick? All right. In construction, demolition, furniture, things of that nature, there's a set price for a toilet. There's a set price for a king size mattress. That's what it's supposed to be charged for. When Johnny fixed the house, repair handyman, honeydew guy comes in there and he's got a load of sheetrock, guess what? My operator's not telling him to take his butt on down the road to our main dump and dump it there. He's not doing his job. If he's not doing his job, I will find somebody else that will do the job.
He's gonna hurt me.
Well, you're fine. Keep on.
Because I went by the other day and there was a box truck, and not a huge one, not a 27, maybe 10 by 12, whatever, that had a stack of drywall like this. There was 3 people standing around, not from the dump, but from the construction people. And there was one person in the truck throwing all that drywall stuff into that dumpster. That had to be a guesswork. And it was a flooded house. Walls were being tore out because they'd been flooded. So the drywall was wet and everything else.
First thing, he has no way to scale or measure that.
That's right.
So if it was a couch and a TV and
Well, this was construction, demolition.
I know, but if it was a couch, TV, and a door, I don't have a problem with that. If it's block, brick, rock, stone, if it's sheetrock, wall coverings, things of that nature, if it's more than a square of daggum shingles, they need to come down the road. And I will deal with that, not tomorrow, but I will on Monday. It is tomorrow. That's good.
That's just an observation I made in the last week or two.
Okay.
Now, twice now, when I've been over to VA in Johnson City, I've come back Market Street to 381 and back across University Parkway, I guess it is.
Yeah.
And come back to Run Mountain across Gap Creek Road.
Right. Mary Pat. Yes, sir.
And I followed this truck twice with a 16-foot trailer loaded with construction from Johnson City with Washington County tags. This was before Vernon went up there.
I'm listening.
And he went into the dump.
To our convenience.
The convenience.
Our convenience.
My thoughts on that, now this is my own personal thoughts. Was one, it's cheaper for him to do that, run 50 miles with it, and dump it at our convenience center. Or two, he knew the person that was running it. I don't know who was running it at the time. I don't remember. I know that person on there because
Now, that's not being recent.
it's been within the last year, before prior to Vernon coming.
Okay.
I hadn't thought about it until just this week when I was talking to Vernon and saw that truck up there. That's twice I followed that same truck trailer.
Makes sense. I can see that happen. It doesn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form.
That was one of the things I wanted to hit on.
But that demolition dumpster is sitting up there. There is a price list of what can be thrown in there.
I've seen that list. I got that.
And if it ain't being followed, and I'll address that tomorrow, verbal address on that.
I did pay a visit to your transfer station up there.
Yes, sir.
And I introduced myself to the ladies inside, and I talked with them, got a copy of everything there. And I asked them, I said, is there a place I could park and just observe for a little while? Sure, I can park over there. That's what I did.
Were you treated respectfully?
Very respectful.
Okay.
Very professional. I explained who I was and told them what I wanted to do, and they were absolutely professional.
Okay.
One thing I noticed there when I got there, which was slightly after 8 o'clock, there was the truck that was loaded, was pulled out of the pit and parked right in front of the pit.
Okay.
Never pulled all the way out, he just stopped right there at the top of the hill. And I watched probably a half a dozen trucks come into transfer, the trucks in the city and Blue Ridge.
You're talking about a truck, you're talking about my truck, my 48-foot trailer. Sitting there right before 8 o'clock or right after 8 o'clock?
I got there right after 8 o'clock.
Okay.
It sat there the entire time I was there, and I was till probably a little bit after 9.
Okay.
That blocked the yard tractor from putting an empty trailer in the pit.
Now, was there an empty trailer there?
There was an empty trailer sitting on the yard tractor from what I could tell.
Okay.
This was the first thing in the morning.
Well, that's the thing. It may not have been tarped yet.
Okay.
So if it's compacted, you should not see, it should be compacted down that far below the lip of it. You shouldn't see it. But I'm not trying to justify it because they're probably that same truck driver. You know, he might have had to go to the bathroom or something.
Well, he was parked there for over an hour. That truck was there when I got there slightly after 8, and it was still there when I got at after 9 when I left.
Well,
my suggestion to make that run a little smoother maybe is have him pull it down the side of the building.
oh, yeah, that's usually where they pull it.
This sat there for over an hour.
Okay. But I'm pretty sure if the yard dog was hooked to one and it had been pulled out, then it was full.
Okay.
Because in the evening, the last truck coming in goes into the slot.
Okay.
And then it gets filled.
What time do they start filling? Or 7?
Right around 7:30ish, 7. It just depends if one of my operators is also a mechanic. If he does his inspections and everything's good to go and everything's filled up, he'll go ahead and start filling before Bob gets there, who is also the main guy, the big guy with the coveralls.
Yeah.
He runs my transfer station.
Okay. That's just an observation I made there. The girls in the office are very professional. Yeah. I was kind of awestruck by how well they
How's it smell in there? Just, that's the next thing.
Much better.
Did you have to clean your feet off after you come out of there? No. See, life's looking good, folks.
I appreciate your security on.
You understand why
I
now?
understand exactly. Can I make a suggestion?
Sir, I'm.
Two possible suggestions. One for up on top of the demolition pile. If those guys on the dozers could back up and not have people with the trailers and trucks 200 feet or 100 yards down.
Okay, to answer that question, if the individual that I was gonna get rid of, but he retired real quick that day, if he would've listened to me, we wouldn't be doing that.
Okay.
Now, when you go up there, you're making a complete circle, and then you back up. So I'm pulling up here, I back over there to Jonathan, I dump my load, and then I'm pulling back out, and I'm going out the slick, nasty ass spot. Excuse my French, I apologize, it's getting late in my old NCO. You're gonna go out a bit,
Mhm.
and then you'll notice you're on rubble going through there. That's to keep their tires cleaned out, and then rubble on the backside, that's to clean those tires out, so we're not losing gravel going all the way down the road. It's just class 1, class 4 operations, 101 landfill period operation. That's why you got a set of plans you're supposed to go with. And that's what we're doing. And that's why we're in notice of violation now, because the plans were not followed. Sir.
No.
Okay, next, Avery, hurry before the plane picks off up.
One more suggestion.
The committee said here.
When you've got loaded trailers that pull out of pit and have to be spotted there somewhere, is there a pad to put those landing gear on, some sort of maybe 18 inches wide that they can drop?
Okay.
landing gear on?
With that answer, no. And with that said, that originally was set up to be a transfer station. So in the modification and the application that we're gonna be doing, that will be addressed. Right now, they're sitting on asphalt. That's why we've got a yard dog there. You can adjust up, pull it in,
Right.
and get it going. And a lot of times, the yard dog has to pull them up anyways and move them so the truck driver can go ahead and hook.
Right.
Next.
That was it.
That it?
That's it.
All right, motion to adjourn.
It's just motions on us, so I might be able to be down there. You good? Thank you, Patty.
Thank you. I think I'll do PO in the morning, I text you. Yeah.
I'll text you when it's next week, probably.
Don't be none of that.
I'll see you, Stubbs. Did they get the stuff back on? They have to take the bone off? It's growing up. Okay, I don't have any. No, you really screw up.